1 2 man. It's the one and only DJ Chase. I told y'all, man, 2026, I pulling out the big guns in 2026. You know the vibes, man. But we back with another podcast episode today. But before we get started, we got to hit them sponsors. So once again, we got Podcast Directory. Use the promo code DJ Chase and get in touch with the hottest podcast on the planet, such as myself. I'm on there. You know the vibes. So I got the Podcast Directory right here. Use the promo code DJ Chase. You got the new website, Rap Markets, coming soon, rapmarkets.com. Download that official DJ Chase Radio mobile app on your iPhone, your Android, and also Groover, the hottest platform to get in touch with players, curators, to get real feedback from real people, not bots. But with that being said, we got the one and only. So we've been having this debate, right, off air, right? My podcast is dedicated to music education. We got a dope artist, R&B artist. You might know him, you might not know him, right? His name is John Clark. He's a kind of spunky guy. He got a real unique story and a real unique background. So with that being said, my brother, how you doing today, Mr. John Clark?
I'm doing good, feeling good. You know, it's a sunny day out here in Maryland. I'm off work, headed home right now.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I want to get into your background a little bit. Like I said, you're a very unique artist. You're one of the first artists that I've ever had the type of background that you have. So I'm actually quite interested in how it shaped you and how it molded you. So one of the things my show is dedicated to music education, and you're a very smart man. So with that being said,
Oh,
so first I want to get into your background. So you were born in Minnesota, but you've been in Maryland for a little while. So which one you represent, my brother?
I would say musically, I represent Maryland.
Yeah,
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 I definitely consider myself, I'd say, a part of the DMV music scene for sure.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Gotcha.
gonna always have love for Minnesota, though, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Copy. So with that being said, right, growing up in Minnesota. So what you grew up mainly? You grew up in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, correct?
yeah. See, I was born there, and then I was there for like the first 9 years of my life,
Yeah. Okay. Copy. So
and
with
so
that,
that's
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. No, I was gonna ask. So with that being said, like because I'm a New Yorker, right? So growing up in those two
Okay.
places, first, because Minnesota's is completely different than the DMV. And
Oh yeah.
that way different. Way the food is different, the climate is different. What was different about that
It's
move when you moved to the DMV?
Man, when I first came here in 2008, right? You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna reveal my age. I was 9 years old when I came here,
yeah,
and so I was like, and then my siblings, we did a summer camp in Upper Marlboro. It was this really huge summer camp we did. So we were basically just fully immersed into, summer 2008, I believe, just DMV culture. And so the first thing that I wasn't used to was everybody being called Mo. That was the first thing I wasn't. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember at one point I even told a kid, I was like, stop calling me Mo. And he had to explain it to me. He was like, look, no, it's not
Nah, it went out
disrespectful.
bad disrespectful. Yeah, they like you.
Everybody's Mo.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, never mind.
yeah. For sure, man. And what now? The DMV, the weather is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It gets nice when it wants to be.
Yeah, when it
I
wants
come
to
to
be.
when it wants to be. The cold. Were you like used to? I know St. Paul's, Minnesota is freezing.
Yeah.
How was that weather adjustment for you?
Well, the weather adjustment, I just wasn't used to the fluctuations. Of course, when it would
Yeah,
snow here, people would trip and be like, oh no, it's, 8 inches of snow, 1 foot of snow. But like I was already used to,
yeah,
3 feet,
yeah,
minimum 2 or 3 feet in
yeah,
Minnesota. So,
yeah,
I realized that people weren't used to consistent snowstorms here like I was.
yeah.
So
Love
that
it.
was one change.
Love it. Now I want to ask you this, right? And like I said, you have a unique story, my brother. You were homeschooled growing up.
I was.
You didn't go to traditional school until you college.
That's true.
So with that being said, how did that? First of all, how does that homeschool situation work? I'm actually quite curious about that myself.
So, I mean, amongst like families who decide to homeschool, it's always a little different family to family. I'll
Mm,
just tell you how my family did it. So, basically, my father was the one who went to work,
mm,
and then my mom was the one who primarily homeschooled us all of those
Mm.
years. And so starting out, it was pretty simple. I mean, my mom, she taught me and my siblings how to read,
Yeah.
how to write, basic math, addition, subtraction, division,
Yeah. Yeah.
multiplication, all of
Yeah.
those things. And then we also did a lot of outside activities. So we went to museums all the time, went to libraries
Yeah.
all the time. And we did extracurricular activities at our rec centers.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, I played basically almost every sport. Like I've played soccer, basketball, football, golf,
Yeah.
tennis, hockey,
Yeah.
even speed skating. Like I've played like all of
Yeah.
these sports.
Yeah.
And so, the only thing that I didn't have in that experience, I guess, was just like that constant social interaction. But from where I am now and being the person I am today,
Mm.
I am very thankful I had like that first 10 years of my life to
Yeah.
just be like very insulated with me, my siblings, my parents. And then we had, friends too here and there. But I'm
Mm.
I'm very thankful for that. I felt like I was missing out in the moment, but looking back, I'm overly thankful for that.
Yes, I agree. Now, the reason why, once again, I like to show a person's journey. Now, you enrolled in Howard University as a mechanical engineer student.
Yeah, I did. Dang, I'm like, where'd you get that information, DJ Chase?
I
Of
do
course.
my home. I do my homework, brother. So with that being said, right? What made you want to go into that field? Because that's not an easy field at all. What made you go into that?
So back in like 2016, and even a little bit before, there was so much government funding in the STEM areas. STEM was like exploding. So like
Yeah,
everybody was being pushed into science, technology,
yeah,
engineering, mathematics. And so, both of my parents are scientists actually. My father, he's a chemist. He's got like a PhD in chemistry. And then my mom, she's got her bachelor's in microbiology. So
yeah,
they both was overly locked in science. And so, when both of your parents are in the field, they're going to encourage you
yeah.
to do this thing while also charting your own path. And so
Mm.
in my head, I thought mechanical engineering was going to be like robotics. Maybe I could be like Tony Stark.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking in my head. I didn't know that when you study mechanical engineering in college,
yeah.
like that major is a few classes away from being a mathematics major. You're predominantly doing math.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got into algebra, I stopped liking math.
Mm.
So I was like, when I was taking those courses, oh man, it was a lot.
Yeah, yeah. That's a lot. Yeah,
Whole lot.
you a soldier for that one. So I want to ask you this, right? Having that unique background and that like studious background, what made you become an artist?
So the artistry, it started, I'd say, with the piano and guitar lessons. My mom
Mm.
put me and my siblings in piano and guitar lessons. I was like 5.
Mm.
So this was still in Minnesota at that time. Then when I moved to Maryland, like 2008, I had a piano teacher. My cousin was actually teaching me and my siblings piano. I was trained classically, but I would never practice the songs. I was always just interested in making my own melodies.
Mm.
And that's exactly what I would do. I would just make up my own little melodies, whatever I was hearing. I just play that
Mm.
on the piano. Same thing with the guitar. That transitioned to me then playing this on a keyboard that we had. And this specific keyboard had a setting where you could hit the record button, play a melody,
Mm.
and you could go back and on a separate track, you could add another melody. So basically, I was making beats on this keyboard with no laptop
Mm. Nice.
before I even knew what quote unquote making beats was.
Yeah.
And then from there in 2015, that's when I got on GarageBand. And then from there, it was just,
Mm-hmm.
I was just locked in. I would just be making beats for fun for hours, like two,
Mm.
3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. Even when I started at Howard University, I had
Mm.
my own laptop at this time, and I was producing out of Reason.
Mm. Classic. Yeah.
Like it's like a German. I think that's like a German EDM software. So
Yeah.
I was
Reason classic. That's what we used to use. We used to do the rack mount back in the good old days.
exactly, and so I
Yeah.
was doing that, and then finally, when I turned 19, I had found out about a studio. I went there with one of my own beats. I recorded over it my first song and put it out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yup.
love it, love it. So now, when you left Howard, right? Because that probably
Yeah.
was a lot on you. You
Oh
went
yeah.
to Montgomery College.
Exactly.
That's when you decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna take this music thing full time. And it's a two-part question. So, were your parents supportive of you doing music, leaving Howard University?
So try and think. I feel like I could give like a glorified version of this story, or I could just tell the whole truth.
We here for it. It's your truth, brother. Let's
So
get
what
it.
had really happened at Howard was I lost my scholarship
Mm,
because I couldn't keep up.
yeah.
And I did care more about music at that time, for sure. So, it wasn't like I left just because, I wanted to just be a rock star.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those classes, those if you don't really love the engineering courses, if you're not really locked in on it,
Mm,
you're not gonna do good. You're not gonna pass them.
yeah.
So, but to answer your question at the same time, my parents could see I was way more enthusiastic about music than I was with college, things
Mm,
like that. And so, of course, like I feel like to any parent that cares about their children, for the most part,
mm.
of course they were disturbed a little bit.
Okay, because I was like, yeah, they sound like they was kind of hot about that.
Yeah, there was a lot of conversations
Yeah,
about, needing to have solid
yeah,
income and needing to have, the most logical plan. The whole
yeah,
spiel, you can probably
yeah.
imagine
I do.
how those conversations went.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm not even angry at them for it. I completely understand.
yeah,
Living in today's world, you gotta get money.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going
What
on
you
with that.
going, what you gonna do? You gotta eat. We're not farmers no more.
Right. Yeah, love it. And I want to ask you this too, brother. Now, when you decide to make the change, you rock stages. You know what I'm saying? You're a
Yeah,
very performance based artist. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
A lot of artists, they only focus on the studio. They make music for themselves. What inspires that stage performance?
When it comes to my stage performances, I love a solid, like energetic performance. I like to think, okay, if I was in the audience,
Mm,
what would be really cool for me to see as the person watching it? So I do bring a lot of theatrics into my live performances.
mm.
I even set myself on fire one time
Oh, okay.
during one of my performances. I was performing this song called Run.
Yeah.
I was about to be a part of a TV show. And so I
Mm,
was like, you know what? I don't know what they're going to say
yeah.
about this record, but I'm going to have the most memorable performance. And I did,
Yeah.
And so one thing that I'm actually working on now is I've been studying James Brown,
Mm.
specifically when they would put that blanket over him. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about.
I do. I'm 38. I know who I pat myself after
Exactly.
James Brown. I'm a DJ. I'm a DJ's DJ as well. So I pat myself. James Brown and Michael Jackson, only two people I rock with. So
Yeah, like when it comes to live performances,
yeah,
including Michael Jackson, it's like I think that's one thing that's missing a
yeah,
little bit from rappers nowadays. It became popular not to really do anything. I'm trying to really be like theatrical, my
yeah,
performances, even more theatrical
yeah,
than I've been.
yeah. Love it. And I want to ask you this too, John. Right? So being such a smart guy, you know what I'm saying, and
If you say so.
you are a smart guy. I can tell. So with that being said, right, you deal with a lot of things in this music business that you might not like personally or
Yeah,
spiritually.
absolutely.
And with that being said, uh, do you feel like at the educational prowess that you have, do you feel like what, I want to keep going, and what motivates you to keep going?
My prime motivation to keep going, despite the darkness of the industry, is definitely I feel like the love God has placed in my heart for the craft.
Mm,
Of course, music and a lot of has become so political, and you can't
mm,
say this, you can't say that, you can't do this, you can't do that. But my whole thing is, I don't get into the music to try to feed into any popular narrative. Like
yeah,
I'm strictly involved in this because like as an artist, as a musician, I'm interested to hear more. Like it's almost like you've got like mathematicians or scientists who go to the laboratory and they're trying to create something new. Like when I go into the studio, that's my primary focus. Like if I could show you my Apple Music right now,
Yeah.
I legitimately have the creme de la creme of every genre
Yeah.
because that's what I'm going for. So what motivates me to keep doing this is just to see
Yeah.
what different combinations of
Yeah.
sauce, if you will, that can be put together.
Yeah. Love it. And with that being said, man, what is like one of the hardest things you've had to deal with? I think you kind of touched on a little bit with that answer, but like, excuse me, what is like one of the hardest things you've had to deal with being in the music business? Transitioning from student and long term to sometimes, maybe having to work a 9 to 5 to live your dream or things like that. What is one of the hardest things you had to deal with in the music business so far?
So the hardest thing I probably had to deal with is just getting past discouragement, one, and then two, also just getting past myself and not being too cool to continue to put myself out there.
Mm,
It's so easy sometimes to feel like, oh, I've been doing this for 5 years or I've been doing this for 6 years. So,
mm,
I don't have to do this anymore. I shouldn't have to post a lot on social media anymore. I don't feel like networking anymore. When in reality,
mm.
you're not famous until you're famous.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like you got to keep
Yeah.
networking and, doing what you got to do to get yourself out there. I mean, even once you out there, honestly, you got to work even harder to keep yourself out there.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I guess the hardest thing for me was first just getting past discouragement from life because the personal life always is going to affect the art.
Yeah, love it. And I want to ask you this too, right? Now you had a song that went viral, right?
Okay.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? TikTok hurt my heart. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah. And with that being said, how did that feel? Like, you know what I'm saying? All the discouragement that you've probably gone through, or all the hate. You know what I'm saying? Or silent hate. You know what I'm saying? How did that feel to have a song like that go viral?
You know, as that song was going viral back in that was like 2021, I just remember thinking to myself, okay, this is scalable and I can do it. Like this is really happening. I'm literally independent. At that point in time, I was getting around like 10,000 streams a
Hmm.
week.
Hmm.
I don't know what that is per day, but it was just going crazy. And I remember thinking like, wow, like I didn't even think.
Yeah.
I thought I would have to be locked in for years to get that type of traction, but that really showed me the power of marketing.
Hmm.
And that also showed me too that with the product that I have, it showed me that I'm scalable. Like I can legitimately do this with the proper team, with the proper promo, with the proper packages, if you will.
Hmm.
That, what, 70,000 streams, that could be turned into 1 million.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Love it. And I want to ask you this question, right? And like I said, I'm as you see, we higher level consciousness is what this thing is about. And a lot of artists they don't feel like they're very limited in their thinking. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, a lot of
Yeah.
the street rappers is they going down. Unfortunately, not fortunately or unfortunately, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. It ain't looking good,
It ain't
man.
looking good for the street guys. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, did you ever feel at one point like, you had to kind of fall into that trap or you say, you know what? I'm going to stick to doing what I do best. I'm musicianship, show performance, or, alternative sounds, you know what I'm saying? Good quality music and music that describes you. You know what I'm saying? Not being something that you not being something that you're not. Did you ever feel like you had to fall into that trap?
Thankfully, no. I never felt the need to try to put on a persona or portray a lifestyle that I was never living.
Hmm.
Especially not like a street aesthetic or street lifestyle that I also have never lived
Hmm.
because I'm a huge believer in you reap what you sow. And so
Hmm.
it's like
Hmm.
I've seen it happen with so many artists where they speaking on like this type of energy, whether it's violence or whether it's this or whether it's that, and then boom, now like that stuff starts happening in their life.
Hmm.
And at the same time, too, I'm not trying to demonize anybody who is storytelling. Like if that's your situation
Hmm.
and that's what you're stuck in, I understand that too, because everybody has a different life.
Hmm.
We don't always get to choose where we come up at.
Hmm.
But for me, my story has always been one of dealing with the trials of life, dealing with heartbreak, romantic problems,
Hmm.
dealing with even mental health problems,
Hmm.
depression, anxiety, etc. And then also having fun. Like I still want to have fun. I still want to turn up. So like for me to when I go into the studio, there's so many things to talk about.
Mm,
I would never want to just focus on one aspect of my life
mm,
only.
mm,
And even as like pertains to Black people as a whole,
mm,
my only problem sometimes with gangster rap is when I talk to other people from other countries,
mm-hmm,
they're like surprised at the way I carry myself because their perspective of us is that we're all gangsters
mm-hmm.
due to what's mostly put out in the media. And I'm like, there's a lot more to rap than just drugs and violence and, you know, RICO charges and stuff like that. Like there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for that answer, brother. And before we get out of here, the new single that I got popping that I want to promote that I like, I rock it with right now. Run,
Okay.
the fire sound. The instrumentation is crazy, and I'm a producer, so I gotta ask: did you produce that record?
I didn't produce this one, but for like I'd say like 80 to
Yeah,
90% of the songs I put out, I did produce, but not this one.
yeah. Okay, copy. What inspired Run, my brother? Because the lyrics is crazy, by the way. Too, I listened to it when I was driving. Um, what inspired that record, by the way?
Oh, for this one, this was inspired by disappointments in life. Not one disappointment with one girl or one like romantic relationship, but it was just like a culmination of energy I'd experienced over the past several years.
Mm,
One, but then two, my desire to still overcome all of those negative energies that can come
mm,
from failed relationships
mm.
and still just be successful, still get money and still run it up like the hook is saying. So it's like, yeah, I'm feeling bad. I'm at my lowest, but there's still motion on the table.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what inspired the song.
Yeah, I love it. Once again, my guy, John Clark in the building. If you're now tuned in, WDJCDB, DJ Chase Radio. And I ain't going to hold you too much longer, brother. I want to ask you this before we get out of here. Is there a full album coming out, or you going to just drop bangers? What you gonna do with us for 2026?
In 2026, it's some bangers I'm finna drop, and then I'm dropping that album.
All right, there we go. I want to look. I need first dibs on that.
I got you.
For sure, man. And my last question before we get out of here, I asked everybody this, man. My inaugural question, man. If there was one piece of advice that you would give anyone getting into the music business today, what would that piece of advice be?
Man, my first piece of advice would be if you want to go into the music industry in any way, I'd say make sure that's where God is sending you. For sure.
Yeah. On that note, once again, man, WDJCDB, DJ Chase Radio, we out of here, man. John Clark, where can they find you, brother?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at John Clark 4K. That's just my name, John,
Yeah.
John, Clark, Clark. The number 4 and the letter K, John Clark 4K, on all platforms. And my music is on all streaming platforms. Just search John Clark, and it'll pop right up.
Once again, man, WDJCDB, DJ Chase Radio. I hope y'all enjoyed this one, man. A very spiritual brother and enlightened brother. You know what I'm saying? I quietly enjoyed this interview, by the way, too.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? It was my wedding anniversary, so it brought me some good radiance to the day. So,
Wow,
yeah, appreciate
okay.
that. Yes, sir.
Congrats.
Yes, sir. Blessings. So, with that being said, once again, John Clark, the single run, streaming right here on DJ Chase Radio, man. Stream right here. Download that DJ Chase Radio mobile app, iPhone, Android, and all of that. Also, too, the new book out. Hold on. Got to pull out the book. Got to promote the book. I got a new book order.
Get the book out there.
Hold on 1 second. The record label Cheat Sheet Volume 2 is out. Let me see. Get the camera. There you go. It's a pop up somehow. But once again, the book, the record label Cheat Sheet Volume 2 is out now. Amazon. And Spotify podcast, Apple podcast, and YouTube DJ Chase TV, and I'm out of here. Yeah.